Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Lady Estelle and the Street Soldier Crew, and we're back for another Sunday evening with you. Your host this evening is glad to see that we are still
Yes,
here,
my baby Donald, he watches my back and yeah, and my camera.
alive and free.
Yes, my baby Donald, he watches my back and yeah, and my camel toe. How about that?
Oh my God.
Shout y'all. I love y'all.
What's your name? We love you too. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm Tyson.
Uh-huh.
Calling from the town from California.
We on
History Month. One more time. Happy Black History Month. It's going to be a good one, much needed. Ooh, got a lot to say tonight, got a lot to teach, got a lot to give away, got to do it all because look, I mean, I'm hearing like, I don't know, we can do that Black History thing. Is it going to be cool from now on? Yes. It's always going to be cool.
Celebrate.
Always. I don't care who says what. Black History is on. All right, let me say hello to everybody. Get you going. Hello, Ann.
Happy
Hello,
Black History Month, Dr.
Fillmore.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello, Lady E. No, okay. Hello.
In her light.
Oh, there's
There
your
we
hello,
go.
Lady E. Okay. Hey, unmute yourself so you can say hello back. Okay. All right.
I'm trying to find all the buttons. They're just all over the place right now.
We got it on. It's on and cracking, as they used to
Well,
say.
it's more cracking than it is on, but go
Uh,
ahead.
And Soul, where you at? Soul, where you at? The soul is out there somewhere. Because I got to have my quick. Okay, before we end Black History, I gotta do this. And you know my favorite guy to consult with when it comes to sports is Fillmore, Mike.
Hey.
So Fillmore,
Uh-huh.
Luka is now a Laker. Your reaction?
I didn't believe it. That was my initial reaction. I didn't believe it. Pretty big trade though.
Ooh, big.
Huge trade.
Has there ever been a bigger one?
I don't think so.
At that age, prime.
Yeah.
Not even 25.
I'm not.
No.
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 The closest one was maybe when who was that guy that with Detroit? I think that was pretty Adrian Dantley. Didn't he get traded in the middle of the season? It was not. He wasn't in his prime or nothing like that.
No. Maybe Kareem, but he was older.
Was it during the season though? In season trade, or wasn't that during
That's
the
a
summer?
good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. And of course, I love AD. He gone, but hey, you got to get something. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But that is a monster. And then a secondary trade, just for all you NBA fans out there, that would have been made the noise had it not been for the Luka for AD swap is De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
To the Spurs, Zach LaVine, to the Kings. That's a big trade.
That is a big
That's
trade.
a big trade too. All right. I know it is pure football Super Bowl, which is, I believe, next week, right? And the Grammys is tonight, right? Okay.
Yes.
All that. But I had to get that out because that's such a big deal. Lady E, you have any thing to say about Luka and LeBron playing together? I can't hear you. I
Gotta unmute.
You gotta unmute.
Oh my goodness.
You do that.
No, it's gonna be fun to watch.
Oh yeah. Thank you. The Warriors gonna make a move.
I don't really want them to make a move. There's nothing really out there for them to get.
Oh, okay. You don't want to make a move.
I would just stand pat. I mean, if
Okay.
it's a move to get, make a move. But if it's not a move, don't just make a move just to make a move.
Any names in your head?
It's not nobody else. Maybe Miles Turner, but what are you giving up to get him?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Miles, good player.
Yeah.
Miles.
Vucevic.
Oh.
All I know is I'm getting me a Luka Lakers jersey.
Ugh.
Yep.
All right, man. Now that I finished with the one sports analyst, I'll go to you, Cole, and you can give us your summation before we jump into Black History Month. The news first. What you got? What you got, Soul?
Purple and gold. That's all I got. Nothing to say. When you see me, I will be in purple and gold.
Oh, he didn't announce it, Fillmore.
That's cool.
You being so nice tonight, man.
No, I don't like the Lakers.
I know
Who,
that.
who likes the Lakers?
Him?
Y'all too.
I love hoop.
Mhm.
I love hoop, and I do love Brown. And I love Steph. So
I don't think that combination is gonna work though.
it'll work.
How?
They gonna figure out a way to wait. Look, them two high IQ ball players. Now they may not play no defense, maybe 140 to 130 every game, but hey,
But they both like the ball in their hands.
I know that. But they also got they're high IQ ball players. It's gonna be fun.
Mhm.
If I live down there, I'd buy. Look, I might mortgage something to get a ticket. Not season tickets. just
Oh,
a
I was gonna
ticket.
say, okay.
No. All right. Once again, everybody, happy Black History Month. We got a few news items to get into because we're going full bore Black History tonight. Got a wonderful thing for you that all of you listen to us. We're going to do the book giveaway again. And I will explain why as we get closer. But y'all need these books. They might be trying to take them. All right. So we'll start with you. You got your news there, sir. Mr. Sir, you got it there? All right. You don't? I do. All right.
Hey, Black History Month, so nice. Don't it feel so good? We only the second day in, and it already feels good.
Yes.
Yes, it does. But as far as the news, I'm staying away from the Orange Man for you
Yes.
because
do
he's
that.
in the news every 5 seconds. But here in the Bay Area this weekend, there was the Bay Area actually. Oakland said goodbye to the GOAT, incredible baseball player, Oakland's own Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson.
I sent that article to you earlier. Mike, did you see that? I think they had something at the Coliseum.
It was a very special Ricky Henderson's love affair with Oakland.
Yeah.
Part of celebrating
That
his
was
life.
big. I seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was real big. Dusty Baker was there.
Yeah.
I think Barry
Dusty
Bonds
Baker.
came out. Dave Stewart, if I'm not mistaken. Just Shooty Babbitt, if you Oakland folks into baseball know that name. It was just a fitting tribute to Ricky Henderson. Real nice to see.
5,000 people. 5,000
Yeah.
people showed up at the where is it? You say it's at the Coliseum? Was that the
I don't know for sure. I couldn't tell. I don't know where it was.
say where it was. But 5,000 people showed up, and prayer finished with a gospel rap from Oakland's own MC Hammer, who was a
Gotta have Hammer there. Yep.
Fat Boy in the Charlie Finney years, and the event was co-hosted by the one and only Rennell.
That's right.
Rennell Brooks Moon. Okay, and yeah. Let's
Yeah,
look.
actually, I wish I would have been at that. That would have
Ricky
been nice to be.
synonymous with Oakland, and Oakland synonymous with Ricky Henderson. Oh man, that's nice. That's nice. That is that. Thank you, sir. Thank you for getting that going. Apparently we got one Grammy story. Y'all remember Roxanne Shante?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Roxanne, the real Roxanne. Yep. Have a nice day. Oh yeah. That's old school.
Very old school, but good old school, right? She is getting a Lifetime Achievement Grammy tonight.
Wow.
Yeah, a lifetime, and to quote her, I would have never thought that I was going to get a Grammy, she says. All right, but she is, and that is, and it's funny, she learned what she called, before she became a rapper, and this is a name you might remember, so maybe Fillmore will too. She was more interested in the wordsmithing of comedians like her idol, Nipsey Russell.
Wow.
Not Nipsey,
Oh,
Hussle,
yeah.
Nipsey Russell. You remember Nipsey? Everybody remember?
That's the Tin Man right there, ain't it?
Hmm?
The Tin Man. That's what I always think of him in the Wiz. Yeah.
Was he the Tin Man? I don't know. But
Yes,
yeah,
he was. That was Nipsey Russell was the Tin Man in the West. But yeah.
Yes.
congratulations, Roxanne Shante.
Grammys is on right now. I heard that Beyonce got herself a country music award. So
Oh, how many she got?
let's not be surprised if tomorrow the White House bans Beyonce country songs.
Oh, yeah.
or something like that, you know.
We'll have to do a country show just we'll do a country cowboy show just because of the rise of that. Yeah, that is yes. Thank you, sir. What else we got here? The terrible we gotta say condolences to the victims of that horrible helicopter plane crash in DC airspace.
In DC, yep.
And
yeah, I sent you the story. One of the victims was identified, and she was actually a former, the sister you see right there, she was a former intern for Michelle Obama at one time.
Wow.
A little bit about her. I don't have it in front of me. Maybe you do, but she was one of the victims.
A civil rights attorney named is Kia. I don't know. Mispronounced AIH. Dugan's a civil rights attorney and soon to be Howard University law professor, was identified as victims in the fatal mid-air collision near Reagan National Airport. I don't believe there are any survivors in that crash. Proud Wichita native, she won Miss Butler County in 2014 and competed for Miss Kansas. All right, I saw pictures of her. Her smile lit up the page, but obviously she was more than a pageant queen. And so for her and all of the victims, we say, I mean, it's just a mess. Terrible. Terrible.
Our condolences, yes.
Terrible tragedy. All right. The rest of the news is, I might save some of it for the second hour because it involves things that you know who is saying. And but he might come in the first hour because we're doing Black history and he's saying he ain't cool with that either, as far as I know. So let's get into it. We always want to, I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do tonight. So now we're gonna do, how can I say this? We're gonna do a book giveaway. We're doing a book giveaway for Black History Trivia. And we did one a couple of weeks ago for Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King Trivia. He gave away his book, Strength to Love. Tonight, we're going to do Black History Trivia, and we're going to give away one of my favorite books from the Browder File. This is the first Browder File. Anthony T. Browder, one of the foremost Black historians around. And it's 22 essays on the African American experience. You're gonna get that. I ain't gonna give you a big book, right? I'm gonna give it, but I will give you this book. This book is deep, deep. It was stuff in here that you had no idea. So we want to introduce it slowly. We don't want to hit you too fast. But let me tell you, folks. Let me say, I don't know where this thing is going. I mean, I can read what they call it, Lady reading the tea leaves, see the signs, or as you put it, listening to the background music.
That's right.
That's the way we say it at the club with the kids. But if I was you, and if I were you, were either one.
That's so much better.
I would get my hand on as many books as possible. See, I mean, if it's digital, they can take it off, right? All right, I don't know how to do that. I don't know. Copyrights don't seem to mean nothing to folks.
If it's on the White House website, they can scrub it, basically, is what you're saying.
That's right.
Yes.
Get your paper, get your hands on a book in your collection, then they can't come. If they want to come, they can come in your house and take it, all right? But books are everything. And so we're going to give away, we gave away the Dr. King book. We're going to give away from the Browder File book. And let's put it like this, we want you to get the answers. So you can call your friends, don't call enemies, go to Google, I don't know what you do. We want you to get the answer. Some of these questions are more difficult than others, but the whole thing is it's Black History Month. We are celebrating it. And some people get, everybody knows the history of Black History Month, history of Black History. That was pretty good, huh? So I'm not going to ask this question, so I'll tell you right away. You should know. Lord, John Henry Clark, what a quote. Oh, I got to read this, okay? Because we deep here. This is Free Soldiers. John Henry Clark, another great historian.
That's a name right there.
History is a clock that people use to tell their political and cultural time of day. That is so deep. It is also a compass that people use to find themselves on the map of human geography. History tells the people where they have been, where they are, and where they where they have been and where they are. More importantly, history tells the people where they still must go and who they still must be. The relationship of history to the people is the same as the relationship, Lady E, this is a great quote, of a mother to her child. Only John Henry Clark for throwing at you like that. So, for those of you who don't know the origin of Black History Month, the precursor was created in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson. Hope you know that name. An African-American historian, author, journalist, and the founder. Well, all right, I'm not going anymore. All right. He announced the second week of February to be Negro History Week. He chose that week specifically because it covered the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. In 1976, Black History Month was officially acknowledged by the U.S. government. But even more than this, and some people are like, they gave us the shortest month of the year. No, you heard Carter G. Woodson did it in February. They ain't give us nothing. I don't want to say it. I hear that a lot. People still say that. I don't know why they said it. I don't know why they say it. All right. And some people,
They say it because it's the shortest month of the year.
but they ain't give it to us. It happens to be the shortest month of the year. Okay.
Right.
But you know, I mean,
But it's the give us part is what you take.
they ain't give us nothing. Let's get that.
That's the part you
ain't
don't
give us
like.
nothing.
Okay, gotcha.
We fought, lobbied,
not the month.
started because
Yeah.
you know I'm gonna get started anyway. Okay. Now some people be like, well, every day is Black History Day. Absolutely. For me, I lead a Black History life. Okay. All right. But just as you emphasize your birthday, right?
Yep.
Pay special attention on your birthday. And I know some people, Lady E, who tell me, like, I celebrate my whole week, a birthday my whole week. Somebody else tell me, I celebrate my birthday a whole month, right? All right, fine. That don't mean you can't put special emphasis on something, a particular time, right? So, and go in depth. That's all Black History Month is. Don't trip, people. Okay, lead a Black History life, and then there are times you can really emphasis. You know, I'm a daddy, right? Father's Day is cool, but I lead a father's life. All right.
Yeah.
So, like, don't be tripping. Be glad, because I'm gonna tell you something. We're not blessing Black History, but a lot when people pay no attention. Anyway, all right. Is that clear, Lady Mrs. Stell, Lady E? Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna get this going. I gotta get it going. I got a book to give away. We'll see if anybody wants the book. And I'm gonna send now Fillmore. I want to get him his. Okay. He participated last time, and
Yes,
he got
Got a caller too.
he got it. Thank the Lord. 8. Well, give me that number again.
Well, you got to call her.
I know, but I still
877-955-1061.
gotta get them because I get excited.
Go ahead.
877-955-1061.
But I haven't given a question yet. Okay, they can come on and I'll give them a question. All right. Okay, go ahead.
Yep.
877-955. Well, they're gone.
You're on.
All right. Yes. Who's calling? How are you, sir?
History Month.
Yes, sir.
If he created it, where did it come from? Why was it invented? Period. And what does it? I mean, I understand it represents Black people, but what was the concept behind that? And you sat there and said, I just caught a few things, but if you get a chance to reiterate what you just said, I'd appreciate that because I'm born in February, and I'm happy to be a part of, and I just want to know the history behind it.
I'll tell you, I will say it again. I will definitely say it again. And thank you. I'm glad you were listening. So the week was chosen because Negro History Week was commissioned by, was the idea of Carter G. Woodson, right? And the Association for the Study of Negro Life. All right. And he announced it in the second week of February. And this was back in 1926.
Wow.
It's been going on for a while. And he picked that week because that week coincides with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln on February 12th and Frederick Douglass on February 14th. All right.
So it has nothing to do with George Washington, who day I was born on.
No.
It was
No.
George Washington wasn't in the mix. For him, it was
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Now,
Right.
the primary emphasis was placed on encouraging the coordinated teaching of the history of Black people in the nation's public schools. Now, initially, the first Negro History Week met with a lukewarm response, of course, okay? And eventually, it went from Negro History Week to Black History Month in 1976. It was recognized by the U.S. government. President Gerald Ford gave a speech. So that's how it came about. And
Doc, can I add that Negro History Week started in 1926, so it goes
Yep.
all the way back to the 20s.
Yep.
And just a little bit about Carter G. Woodson. He was a historian. He dedicated his life basically to Black history. So, I mean, this was just something that he believed in and he was going to do, and he was not going to be stopped. And from his initial thought and you know, daring to be, that's how we got to today, just from Carter G. Woodson. Incredible man.
And see, right there shows you what we don't know. I mean, you know, we don't know. That's why we do this, because you don't know what you don't know. My favorite line.
Thank
Look,
you, man.
so I
No,
want to
I
give,
really
remember that name, Carter G. Woodson. So I'm going to give you a chance to win. You want a tough question or is an easy? Well, you know, bro, we're here to educate. All right.
I mean, I'm not worried. I'll try it, but I mean, you ain't got to give me that. This is education for me.
But look, and this is so fundamental and basic. I want you to name 5 common inventions by African Americans. 5.
Ooh.
Common.
One of them is the toaster, the phone, the light. I want to say the automobile, and I can't really recall number 5.
Okay, so give me the first one now again.
The automobile.
That would be
Phone.
okay. Now not the automobile, it was actually the automatic gear shift. The automatic gear shift,
right.
but automobile is close. You know, the supercharged engine, yeah, or the automatic gear shift, or the supercharged system for the internal combustion engine. So when you rev up, when you see them doing what's a Fast and Furious, that's called us, okay? So we'll give you that. All right.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, that's the whole thing. What's the next one? Give me another. Common. Now these are so common.
Well, I said the phone.
I don't think that. Well,
I thought Alexander Graham Bell was not the person who invented the phone.
You know, I've heard that. I don't know.
there is. We're gonna look that one up because I haven't.
Right.
Go ahead, Ann.
Well, Jesse Russell is a Black inventor who played a key role in the development of the modern cell phone.
The cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You said phone, so we're gonna do that one. We're gonna give you cell phone because I wasn't on my list.
Because I was talking about the phone.
I know you talking about the telephone.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't give you that because you said phone.
Yes.
All right. Now I didn't even know his name, but I knew to have. All right, 2 down, 3 to go. Common.
Okay. What a common.
He said light.
Light bulb.
That's right. The filament within the light bulb was Lewis Latimer.
Edison light bulb.
No, yeah,
That's
that's
made by a
right.
black man.
Hey, listen. So when the light blows out, right, and you take that thing inside, the filament is what lights up the.
Wow.
So yeah, Lewis Latimer, a black man, invented the filament, and Edison got the credit. Edison got the credit. So see, I'm common everyday things. When you change the light bulb, there's a brother right there. You need to say thank you. Brother.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That's the brother.
3 down, 2 to go.
What I got? Oh my God. What about
Common.
I don't know.
Okay. I'm can I throw you in?
The comb.
Say it again.
The comb that you comb your hair.
That is correct. The comb. That is absolutely correct. The comb. That's why people be tripping. I mean, brothers invented the comb. Black people invented the comb. Yes, they did. The comb. How many you got? 4?
I got 4.
Okay, so okay. Now look, here I go. There's a tall building, like 35 floors, and I don't want to walk to the top. So what do I do?
The federal building?
No, how
No.
do I get up there?
The elevator.
Yes, the elevator.
Elevator.
Every time you go to the 35th floor of your penthouse,
Goodness, right?
it's because of a brother, man, a brother. I have the name somewhere, but that's good. Thank you, man. Thank you. This has been a great start.
And that's
You are going to
Yeah,
receive
yeah.
this book
this is great education.
from the broader file. And see, what you don't know, what you don't know. So, and every time we do
Right.
this with the kids and we doing it on Tuesday, right? They be like, why didn't I know this? I didn't know that. I've been using these products all my life. So yes,
Man,
yes, you learn something
you got
tonight
to know what
right here on Street Soldiers.
Yeah.
We're going to send you the
right
book
on.
from the broader file, and you're going to learn a whole lot from this little book. Hope you love it, brother. Thank you so much.
Man, I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for being on here today.
Hey, man, enjoy your birthday too, brother.
Got his info
Happy
in?
birthday too.
Good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. February. Happy birthday, man. Whole month. Okay. All right. 877-955-1061. And that's Mrs. Stella. We love this. As teachers, give us a call and we're going to ask you a question. And that was my first one, 877-955-1061. You will receive, this is our Black History Trivia Hour, And you see how excited he was to learn what he know. Let's see, I'm gonna throw this question out, and I know people got to hear the question first. So, now, I want to do some more invention. What should I do? Miss E, help me. We got so many things here. Okay,
Put your food.
here we go. This is a substance not only known for the pigment of our skin, but also is the substance in every living thing. That's deep. So I'm gonna go for one more time, 877-955-1061, Black History Trivia. This is a substance not only for the pigment of our skin, but also a substance in every living thing. We got a call. We got somebody on it. Take it. Go.
It's Marshall.
Who is this?
It's Marshall.
Yes, sir. That's me. Who is it? Caller?
Hello.
Hello.
Man, tell you, perhaps to get actors.
Dave Avery?
Yeah, me, Marshall.
Oh, man, you kidding.
Yeah, I need to see you one day, man. Check in for history, man.
Man, we go back. Yeah, that's back a few years, my brother.
The media,
Yeah, do you know,
operational place.
yeah. You know the answer to the question?
That's right. I don't do that right now tonight. I'm gonna stay focused and just listen.
Okay. Well, we
Okay.
want to give you a chance. You can check in with me. Catch me at with the other number, 800. Yeah, just call Alive and Filmmaker
Yeah.
Boys Club. It's good to hear from you, man. I hope your family, you well, and your sister. I remember your sister too, Daisy. Yeah, thank you, my brother. All right, call 877-955-1061. This is a substance known not only for the pigment of our skin, but also a substance in every living thing. Who can do this one? You're on Street Soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have one?
1-800.
Oh, we don't have one?
877-955-1. Y'all keep messing up the number.
I know.
877-955-1061.
Okay. Well, maybe that's a hard question for people. Maybe. But I want to give them some African history and some African American history. So I got so many questions I can't find.
So is that question, you over? You done with that one?
Oh, they didn't have an answer.
No. I threw that. I'm gonna give another one because. All right. Okay. I'm making them hard. What was the original name of Africa?
Got a call.
Two hard ones. What was the original name of Africa? All right. You are on Street Soldiers. Go.
So I got so many questions.
Yes, this is Street Soldiers. Can you answer those questions? Either one of them.
My name is Victoria Gates.
Hello, Latoya. Can you answer?
I want to know. I want to be a part of that because I want that book. I want that book bad.
Okay.
I need that book to teach my grandkids.
Okay. So this is the substance. I'm gonna give you one or two questions. This is the substance known not only for the pigment of our skin, but also also a substance in every living thing? That's one question. The other question would be, you can pick either one. Before Africa was given its name, what was the original name? Now that's a tough one.
Can you turn down your radio,
Yeah,
please?
I'm gonna go with the pigment of your skin. And I'm gonna say vitamin E.
No, that's not the answer. It's not the answer. And this one is so important. I don't want you to miss it. So let me see if I can come with another.
Give me a hint, Dr. Marshall. You gave old brother a hint. Give me a hint.
Okay, now, okay. I'm gonna give you, give me, we'll go back to the inventions.
No, keep the same one. Keep
Same
Yeah.
one. Okay, give me the same one. Okay, I don't know. How can I give a hint?
It starts with an M.
The brown spots on an apple
Starts with an M.
Starts with an M.
A brown spot on the apple.
or an orange. Lady Estelle, help me here, please.
So it's a chemical.
Look,
First of all, it's a Are you with me? It's a chemical. And when we look at ourselves as a people and we see, the different levels of chocolate, and then there is a chocolate, and then there is a dark chocolate. What is the
dark chocolate, milk chocolate, milk.
No. I'm not talking about chocolate. Stay with me. It's a substance, and it's a chemical. It has a name that starts with an M.
Melanin, melatonin.
You said it right the first time.
The first word was right.
There she go. All right, there she go.
There you go.
That's in our skin. That's great. Thank you. That is such a valuable property. And actually, there's a whole little essay in this book on the wonderful properties of melanin. We're going to get it to you. Thank you. You're going to get a copy of From the Browder File by Anthony Browder.
Okay, now let me just share something with you before you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, she can hear you. Go
Let
ahead.
her go.
Let me just say, is the caller on?
No, she's
No, but
listening
she's
in the
listening on
car.
the radio, lady.
Okay. Let me just say a little bit about melanin. Anybody, you have to know that melanin is a substance that is also in crack, cocaine.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it is said that people of color should never, ever use that substance, crack, cocaine, because it has a chemical that bonds with melanin. And if you touch it, if you take it and you use it, that melanin will bond with that crack, and then you cannot get it out of your system.
That's when you look at it, that's why it affected Black people, because of the amount of melanin we have in our skin. So you can see a woman who was completely ashy and the sheen was gone from her. That's why crack was so devastating, particularly for Black people, because of the amount of melanin that people didn't know. All right.
It's so
Thank you,
powerful. Anyway, so okay, go ahead.
Well, no, that's
So,
additional information that
thank you
people
for
don't know,
that.
which is why the worst thing you could do for Black people is sell them crack. Okay. Who you are, caller? You are on. My next question: do you have an answer for the original name of Africa?
Yes, I'm dying over here. It's melanin. God.
Oh, we got that one. She got that one.
My God. And for the next one, I would have said Pangea. That's the best I got.
No, it's not that.
Okay.
That's
Well, the
okay,
first one's
that's okay.
melanin.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So let me give you another one. The longest river in the world is located in Africa, and there's something very different about that river. You have an idea what that river might be? And I'm saying this river is so important to the history.
The
of Africa.
Nile.
The Nile.
Yeah.
So that's
they
number
created
one.
everything for
To
that.
be able to identify the longest river in the world, which is located in Africa, and you named it. Bam. Now,
Yeah.
there's something unique about the Nile River that does not exist with any other river. What is it?
Ooh.
And it's about its movement.
I'd say
The river, it's about the
Um,
movement of that river.
It goes from south to north.
That's right.
That's it.
It goes up.
Yep.
Upstream.
Yes.
Good job.
Wonderful. You're going to love this book, man. This book, From the Browder File by Anthony T. Browder. Thank you so much for calling.
Yes.
Black History Trivia. Loving it. We're going to get it to you. Happy Black History.
So for the gentleman who answered that question correctly, I need you to, when you stand at the bank of any river, you look at it and you see that it goes to your right. Just imagine standing at the bank of the Nile and it goes the other way.
Mhm.
Just imagine how that would feel.
That's
What do you
crazy.
think?
He's on. He left.
Oh, we gone. Okay,
Mhm.
sorry. Woo!
But
It's
he
all right.
listening. He listening. Okay. All right. I'm
Good caller.
okay. Good Lord. I'm looking for answers. I'm looking for questions. I'm looking for this. So if you can give me, we did some inventions. There are so many inventions. If you can give me 3 more common inventions by African Americans every day, you're gonna get a book. Because this is so important for people to know that everything they use every day, there's a Black person in it. You got that one for me? You want to try that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go for it. Who's calling? You going?
Yep. She.
Oh, you going? Okay. So you can give you 3 more inventions, or I'm gonna give you a name for and the original name for Africa. And this name is Land of the Blacks. You can do that one. Let's see what else we got here. All right. Okay. Caller, you're on the air. Go right ahead. Which one you want? 3 common
We can hear
inventions
you. Make sure you turn down your radio.
or the original name for Africa. Who are you? Go ahead, speak. Yes. 9, 5, 4, 3, 2. Look, y'all better come and get this book, okay? Okay, you get this book.
So real quick,
Mike,
when you
wanna
call, turn down your radio and listen to Dr. Marshall Lady E for the for the question. Real simple. Thank you
Okay.
guys for listening. If you're trying to get the book, 877-955-1061.
Thanks for restoring some calm. Show. All right. So the 2 questions that are out there, 3 common inventions by African Americans or the original name for Africa. You can get either one and you will get a copy of this book from the Browder File. We got a call. Do we have somebody on the air?
Yes, we do.
All right, call it. Go right ahead, say your name, go for the question.
Hi, my name is Sonia.
All right.
I have 3 common inventions:
Okay, go for it.
the gas mask, the traffic light, and the GPS system.
That's not on my list, but I think you're right. The traffic light, definitely. I know. You know how people should know because it's red, green, and yellow, right?
The gas mask, that is correct. And what was the other one?
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh,
We're gonna get you a
GPS,
book.
that's
The
right.
GPS. That's
And the
right.
GPS,
I
that
need
is
to
correct.
Update my list. Update my list. Thank you so much. Because see, we keep inventing stuff. You're gonna get a copy of From the Browder File by the one and only Anthony T. Browder. Let's keep it moving. Oh, we're gonna run out of time. I got all these questions. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Got another comment? I want somebody to get the original name of Africa. Remember, you can look this stuff up.
Thank you so much.
Can you turn down your radio? Whoever calls, make sure you turn down your radio. Caller, turn down your radio. Thank you.
Okay. Hi.
Okay. All right. Which one
I'm
you
on the radio.
You're on the radio. You got an answer
Hey,
to the
guys, I'm
original
on the
name
radio.
of the original
Yeah.
name of
Oh.
Africa?
What?
So the question is, what is the original name of Africa?
Go play that V's Winning Man on YouTube on R75. No, we want to know the 3 common inventions that African American people invented. The street light. They said that already. Peanut butter. Peanut butter. I said that already. Electricity. Selling pussy.
Oh,
Be sacred. Okay, be sacred with African American history. Okay. All right. But before we get off, I'm gonna announce all of them But so I'm trying to get you also to, I want some people to get into African history because, you know, that's where this all began, right? So the original name of Africa, and I'm going to throw another one out there, Lady E, the original name of Egypt. Egypt had an original name. Egypt. It's called Egypt, but that wasn't the original name, right? It's called Africa, but that wasn't the original. What did the Africans call Egypt, and what did the Africans call Africa back way back in the day? And I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
uh-huh. Who is it?
Melissa.
Okay, Melissa, you got a name for me? Got an answer for either one of those?
Tangia?
No.
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 Okay, thank you anyway.
That's okay. That's okay. Should I give her a book anyway?
She left.
She gone. Okay. All right. I better go to some easier questions.
For either one of them.
But the point is, this is what you don't
Got a
know, and that's
caller.
why it's so important to know. Caller, you're on. I'm looking at the original name of Africa, the original name of Egypt.
Egypt Kush.
Ooh, close. But it begins with a K.
Malaga Kemet.
Kemet, that's
Ooh,
it. Kemet.
good job.
Absolutely. And as we go into this, and as you get these, I want you to get the impact of how much of this history was changed by the Europeans. Okay, this was not. None of this was original. Kemet, I love that. Kemet is just a wonderful society. That all right. You got a book, Kemet? Great, you got it. Okay, all right. I'm gonna get him that. Lady, you want to throw one out? That I'm looking for your paper. I want Fillmore to get one. Okay, because he needs it. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go.
What is the symbol that represents eternal life?
Ooh.
An African symbol that represents eternal life.
Ooh, take it this one. I might give him 2 books.
Well,
The African symbol that represents eternal life. Dr. Marshall has one on. If you are watching, I will show it to you, and all you gotta do is get the answer.
Eternal life.
Okay. Who's on? Go right ahead. Which one you want to answer? Hi, who's calling?
Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm calling from Antioch.
Okay, Olivia, do you want to answer the original name for Africa or the African symbol that represents eternal life? I have one on if you're watching.
Is it the Ankh?
That's it, the Ankh. Oh my Lord. I'm so proud of you. Where'd you learn about the Ankh? Seriously, most people don't know that.
Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm calling from Antioch. Okay, Olivia, you want to answer?
Oh, turn your radio down.
Okay,
Make sure that when you callers, turn down your radio, please. Please turn on the radio.
I want to know where you learned about the
I
Ankh.
hung her up.
Oh.
She was no.
Oh, Lord, because no.
It was bad radio. It sounded bad.
Without your
It sounded
piece
bad.
around your neck, Dr. Marsh.
What'd you say?
Do you want to do some more questions? We got some more callers.
Okay, we got some more questions.
Okay.
All right. I'm sticking with the African history. Okay. If I can do it.
Caller, thank you for calling. Street Soldiers, can you please turn down your radio first of all? Dr. Marshall, you have a question for him.
Lady E, you got one.
I got the answer for the original name of Africa.
Okay, what is it?
Alkebulan.
Akibulan, that is correct.
Yeah, Alkebulan.
The Akibulan. Lady E,
Yeah, I'm from Oakland, California, man. I know this.
how did you know this?
Man, because my mom used to teach me this back in the day.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Learn at home. Don't depend on the schools, y'all. Learn it at home. You're going to get a copy of From the Browder File by Anthony T. Browder. And man, if you like the book, you call me back and say, Dr. Marshall's a D book. Because it is. You're going to learn something.
Dr. Marshall gave me the book, man. It's the Jito experience, man, and I'm out of here.
I love it, man. I love it. Woo, well, y'all making me work. I'll take 3 more common inventions. Yes, caller, I'll take 3 more common inventions. And let me give you another one. Lady is she just chiming in. She's not helping. All right, 3 more common inventions, and I'll take what else I got here. Okay. Ooh,
Somebody
the
on the
original,
phone.
the original. I'm gonna give you a religious question. The religious question. The original Virgin Mary was called the. The original Virgin Mary was called the.
Caller, are you there?
Caller, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Yep.
you got either one. You can do 3 common inventions
I got-
or the original.
Yeah, I got.
Go.
Yeah, I got 3 common inventions.
Okay.
The Gulf Tea.
Yes. George T. Grant. Yes.
Yeah. The blood bank.
Charles Drew. Absolutely.
Right. Yep. And potato chips.
Potato chip?
I don't know about potato chip. Oh,
Oh, yes,
I
absolutely.
think that is true. Yeah.
Absolutely. That is correct.
Man, look, lady E to the rescue. Go on, brother. It's gonna be a great Black History Month. Because not only y'all teaching each other.
That's right.
You gonna get the book From the Browder File by Anthony
All right.
P. Browder. And you're gonna love the book, man. Let me know how you like it. All right. I only got 2 minutes to get another one in. Okay. We got one more call. We got another caller. I want to know who the original Virgin Mary was, and it is celebrated all around the world, but you would never know unless you know. Anybody know? Anybody know? You might know that. And there's more inventions, so if you want to do that one, that's fine. Let's see, what have we got here? Oh,
I got 3 common inventions.
okay.
Blood plasma, the street light, and the hair picks.
Hair care inventions, man. Give it to him. Give it to him. Madam C.J. Walker, hair care invention.
He
You
said
get-
hair pick.
Did he say the hair pick? I thought he said hair care. Okay. Okay. I got this one from Mike.
What's that?
All right, Mike. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Originally designed to represent a Black woman being liberated from enslavement, this is now known as.
Statue of Liberty.
You got Mike!
Wow. Good job, Mike.
Where you learn that, bro? You got good instincts. You can't have mine. You
Have yours. Thank
you
you.
get in the mail.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
second book. Did you hear that?
Thank you.
Lady E, you hear Mike from the Browder File. Mike, you can really, we're gonna
It's
talk
a
about
good-
this.
Without any hesitation. And without any hesitation.
The Statue of Liberty. You see, there is so much Blackness
Mhm.
in America, in the dollar
So true.
bill, in the White House, the Black House. It's all there. And I think we out of time. Are we out of time? We got somebody else. We got time for one more?
Yeah.
That's it? Oh, I don't know if we got
Caller's
time.
on.
Hello?
All right, caller, go right ahead. What you got?
Hi, what you want to ask me? I don't know the question.
Oh, Lord, you right. I didn't give you a question, huh? Okay. The original name of the Virgin Mary was called the
Mhm.
I don't know, Jesus Mama shit, hell.
So I'm gonna just tell them this one, okay? Mike, you want another book? No, you ain't got another book. Okay. All right, now we run out of time. The Black Madonna. The Black Madonna. The Black Madonna. And there are many places in the world where you will go in and you will see the Black Madonna. All this was erased from history. So let me do real quick. I thought I had it. I ain't got time. Oh, okay. More. They were great. They were great.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Oh, Lord, I may do another book giveaway. I don't know when. All right, we're going to go to the second hour. We're going to have a conversation about the importance, the necessity, the value of Black history. Got a couple of professors coming in. We're going to talk and tell them what to do it.
Head on over to YouTube Live at Stay Alive and Free, and you can always take us on the go with the podcast and the radio show when you go to stayaliveandfree.org.
Hour number two, alive and free, Street Soldiers Radio. Happy Black History Month. What a live And I don't mean just live on the air. What a live first hour. That book giveaway was tremendous. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Mike had to calm me down. Calm down, Dr. Marshall. Calm down, Dr. Marshall. But I love when people are interested in Black history. I really do. And we're going to continue that discussion this hour. And we got two wonderful people. See, I really who are going to join us, and we're going to dig deeper into Black history. We have Dr. Candace Harrison. Hello, Doc. How you doing?
Great. Hey, Doc, yourself. Good to see you.
And Dr. Harrison is wait a minute, I wrote this down, a associate professor of history at the University of San Francisco. And we're joined also with Dr. Derek Smith. Hello, Derek. How are you?
All right. How are you? It's good to see you.
I'm calling everybody doctor today. Y'all work for this money. So Dr. Smith and Dr. Harrison, that's it. You paid for it, okay? Who is an USF professor in the School of Education. First, I gotta ask you, did you hear any of that first hour? Were you able to watch it or hear any of it?
I sure did. A few of those questions stumped me. So good for your callers. Good question.
But it's the thirst that they wanted. And I remember the first guy said, I want to copy that book. I want to copy that book. I want to teach my son. And I say that because who knows where this thing is going to go now. But I want to begin by reading this quote that I read at the first top of the hour before I started the giveaway. And it's from, and it's funny, we know who this guy is, but 99% of the people probably don't know, especially if you're not Black. John Henry Clarke. History is a clock that people use to tell their political and cultural time of day. It is also a compass that people use to find themselves on the map of human geography. History tells the people where they have been, where they are, and where they are. More important, history tells the people where they still must go, who they still must be. The relationship of history to the people is the same as the relationship of a mother to her child. And I just thought that was said so much by, I don't know, a great historian, John Henry Clarke. And it's interesting, before I got to college, in fact, it was actually longer, I didn't know who this man was. I didn't know who John Henry Clarke was, you know. When I got into my reading, I said, oh man, I didn't know about this brother. And I always, whenever I work, because the month is starting with the young people. And my favorite quote is, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And I titled this, if you saw the title I put here, it was the importance and necessity and value of Black history for us all. You know, it's for us all. But I got to start with back to the beginning. Growing up, what did you know? Did you know? Didn't you know about? So Dr. Harrison, let's start with you. You know, we all went to schools, and what did you learn?
I honestly don't remember learning anything besides Rosa Parks, King. I went to a small Catholic school, predominantly white, in Kansas City. And I know we had a social studies class somewhere in there and in high school too. But I mean, really, it was just, you know, the heavy hitters, maybe something about Jackie Robinson, maybe something about the Negro Leagues because of the ties to Kansas City. But that was pretty much it till I went to college. And then my mind was blown.
So this includes all through high school?
Mm-hmm. All through high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Smith, yourself?
Yeah, well, you know, I grew up in Oakland, and my parents had a copy of Soul on Ice by Eldridge Cleaver, and the autobiography of Malcolm X. But you know, I think I got exposed to a lot of that, you know, from my father's political complaining and my mom's critique of what it meant to work in a world of you know, white folks. But early in middle school, we had a middle school teacher that was very serious about Black kids learning about Black history. And I remember he made us watch Shaka Zulu. in its entirety.
Wow,
And
in middle school?
yes, weekly tests on all the names and relationships and politics. And I didn't do well in that. But that type of treatment of those things continued on into high school as well.
What was that man's, is it a man? What's his name?
Mr. Baines. People that went to Claremont Middle School back in the 80s will remember Mr. Baines.
Wow, that is the exception to the rule. Thank you, Mr. Baines, for stoking that fire early, getting that information out early. I'll do myself, and then I'll Lady E. Like you, Dr. Harrison, I'm a Catholic boy, Catholic school boy. Went to Catholic elementary school. Went to the equivalent of St. Ignatius in Los Angeles, Loyola High School, and didn't learn nothing. Didn't learn nothing. I mean, I didn't even get the cursory treatment, like, Martin Luther King, who's a Booker T, not even Booker T one, the Peanut Guy, George Washington Carver, and this is an excellent educational school. I mean, one thing about Catholic, particularly Jesuit schools, they are good schools. They're just socially bereft. I learned nothing. And so yeah, I didn't learn anything until actually I got to college, but I didn't even learn it in college. I had to go to Marcus bookstore and grab a book. And I owe all what I know. I always say I owe everything to, everybody knows me. The first book I read that it just got me going was a book called Malcolm X Speaks. Little book about this big, and then followed up by Malcolm X on Afro-American history. And you talking about having your mind blown, like you were. I was years later when my mind was blown. I was like, what? And I got to say this, and I literally got angry because I didn't notice. I mean, I was. Can I say pissed on it? Okay, I'm very upset. And to this day, working with young people, I still see the same reaction from the young people that we teach. Lady E, what about you?
Good evening, Doctors Harrison and Smith. And I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas. And there was absolutely no opportunities during my schooling to learn and know anything about Black history. But after becoming an adult, I ran into a psychologist from the Bay Area who had relocated to the Midwest, who introduced us to an amazing historian, Dr. Asa Hilliard, with whom I went on a tour to Egypt, and the information that he provided was just unbelievable. And so, yeah, that's what I got it. But I was way grown when I began to learn about my ancestors, who I and where I came from. It was pretty amazing.
I mean, going back to my high school experience, the one thing, and when you're the only Black kid in the class, especially if you're a Black kid in a white environment, and they would have these conversations about slavery. Nothing in depth, just that there was slavery. And then everybody would turn around and look at me. Either I knew I had all the answers, or like, and I'm like, see me going down in my chair, I wanted to shrink. And it took me a long time not a long time, but even when we start the class on Tuesday, I have taken to say, just because of that feeling, that Black Americans are not the descendants of slaves, because that's what we used for years. We're descendants of slaves, And it took me, I just because of that feeling, I now tell the young people, we're not the descendants of slaves, we're descendants of a free people who were kidnapped and enslaved. We were kidnapped and enslaved, which means your history, because I thought my history began with slavery. It doesn't begin with slavery. it begins, they were free, right? And I always talk to them, it's like, suppose somebody kidnapped you and took you over to, you know, another country. You see these movies and TV shows about people who get kidnapped, and they go over there. You will think that that's what your life didn't begin there. You had a whole life before there. And anytime I say that to the young people, because they get this little dose of we were slaves, and when I tell them that, they were like, we didn't begin with, no, you didn't begin there. You were kidnapped and enslaved. And the next question invariably is, well, what was it like before? And they just light up. I don't know if you've had that experience, but that has been the experience since I started saying that it changes their whole perspective. They literally think they were born in original sin. No, you weren't born in original sin. I don't know if you've had that experience or if you use that phrasing, but for me, that has been just, and then the question was immediately, like, you know, I want to know what happened before, and I want to know what happened since. What do you think about that? Have you ever used that phrasing? I'm curious. And y'all just jump in now. We're on live, so just tell me what you think about what I said. Derek, you're gonna have to leave your mute button off because so you can just pop in when you need to. What do you think about?
I always teach my classes. I teach Black history. I teach big survey classes that cover 400 plus years of Black history every semester. And I never start right with enslavement, right? And even when I'm talking about the arrival of these forced migrants across the Atlantic, I don't immediately, right, discuss enslavement because I want young people to understand, I want masses of our folks to understand that this was a process, right? That not all Black folks who arrive here were enslaved, right? Were victims of racism and oppression for life. But that is a process, right, that happens over time. So they're definitely surprised by this. There is that association because of the miseducation, right, of our folks in the United States, and I think across the diaspora, that any Black person who ever stepped foot on this soil, right, arrives in chains and stays in chains for life. So just offering that window, right, a moment in time when we realized that we had other possibilities for lives, free people, and understanding again that that's a transition, it really blows everybody's minds.
Derek, Dr. Smith, your thoughts about that?
Yeah, well, you know, I agree wholeheartedly with that approach. You know, I am not a history professor like Dr. Harrison. You know, I'm an education professor, and what I find too is that a lot of folks don't know the history of slavery, like of the slavery experience, right? So there's a gross misrepresentation throughout the history of teaching social studies around what slavery existence was like, and quite frankly, the level of resistance that occurred and the level of vengeance that was heaped upon enslavers. And what it does is it paints a picture of a very unrealistic scenario, right, of a docile community of slaves that had to wait until somebody freed them, to find liberation. And that couldn't be further from the actual truth. So I feel that, in teaching the whole process, I mean, I don't think there's much more important than teaching the whole process so people can see not just what Africans went through and African Americans in the diaspora went through, but also the ways in which that long process contributed to establishing what we know now as the global economy. But then there's this other part of when you think of, well, if a person thinks I don't want to be just descendants from slaves, they also have to analyze what they do know and what they may not understand about the strength and the resistance and the strategizing and the thoughts and the support and the love that it took to resist, strike back, and win freedom.
So well said, and particularly to your point about the horrors of slavery and inhumanity of slavery. None of that ever came across even in my little thing. I remember the first time I read it, and it was a book, and I still call this the Bible of Black history, because here's the thing. once you get a little taste of this, and you'd be like, you want to know more. I mean, when I read that, look, when I read Malcolm X on Afro-American history and he broke down some of the things that went on in slavery, I was like, what? You got to be kidding. You got to be kidding. I mean, just the torture. But Lerone Bennett's book, Before the Mayflower, that was my Bible of Black history. And because I read it from beginning to end, and it was just this arc. And Lerone wrote a history book like a story. So it didn't even seem like a history book, right? It was like I was reading somebody's life, but I was reading my people's life. And he was so eloquent in the way he wrote. And he got to that part, and he's from sun up to sundown. I can still, it's funny, when you write, when you can remember the lines in a book that had 400 pages, you know, from sun up to sundown and what they had to do and the last and this, I was like, man, my people, oh Lord, I didn't know it was, they don't, in order to get the kids to really what I'm trying to get to, I said, every one of you has a personal history. And, you know, your personal history is everything that happened to you, right? From the time you're born till the time you sit in this class. And, you know, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And, you know, and I hope it's mostly good, but all of us have a, and I said, well, this is a people history. This is people's history. And, you know, I want to know all of it, and you should know all of it. And then they sort of, yeah, like I got, but now asking, have you gone through things in your life? Yeah, I go through things. Well, we've been through things, and it's just so. And I want to hold that because I want to get to, when I get to the backlash and the pushback. You say you're not a history professor, but you got into it. Doc, you are a history professor. Was this your chosen field, Dr. Harrison? Is this something you wanted to do because of that, or you just how did you get into being a professor of history?
Yeah, I think that, no, I didn't even know what a history professor was. I didn't know what a PhD was. I just thought college campuses were really beautiful. And I enjoyed sitting around right at night after class and talking about everything that we learned that day. History was never my chosen field. I hated it throughout most of my early life because it was about a bunch of people who didn't look like me, right? Who didn't come from my backgrounds. And so if anything, I avoided it like the plague. I had to take, right, one history class in college, and I waited until my senior year. I was almost graduating, and I finally broke down and had to take that one class. And that class changed my entire life. And it was because it was a class that really centered working class folks, people of color, and made the narrative of US history look very differently, right, from that lens. And, you know, so that's how I sort of started. I wound up teaching Black history in particular, because I fell in love with the story of our ancestors here. You know, I'm not an African historian. I don't spend too much time talking about the African continent because it's not my field, and I try to stay in my lane. But what I love, what I appreciate, is the stories in particular of enslaved folks. I am completely infatuated by these ancestors of ours, that they made ways out of no way. I am inspired every day because Black history is every day for me, like you were saying earlier, Dr. Marshall. I live it, right? I breathe it, I dream it, I teach it. And these stories of a people who, again, right, overcame such incredible odds and built literally the foundations of our country, built our American culture, that I possess their DNA, right? It keeps me moving forward in a world that is constantly still trying to cripple us as Black folks. So I came to this late in life, and I'm so glad I chose this path, and I'm never going back. It is an incredible story, you know well.
To have had your class. I'm so glad that you chose this path because I know them.
Thank you.
All the time. When you get a teacher, it's nothing better. Ann knows this. The two greatest, the two most wonderful professions in the world: a parent, right, and a teacher. And sometimes they say, "Well, a doctor can save lives." I say, "But somebody got to teach the doctor to be a doctor, right?" So
That's
there's
right.
nothing greater than being a teacher. In fact, I had one of my old students call tonight. He still remember me. I remember him. That's how it is when you're a teacher. Dr. Smith, what led you into education? And you did some teaching of Black history early on in your life too. So go right ahead.
Well, I don't think I've ever been an official, Africana studies or Black history teacher. I taught social studies for a time at the high school level. I ran a program in Oakland for many years, and I was a high school principal as well. I would say that, I never wanted to be a four-year college professor because I don't know, I didn't have a strong affinity for the four-year college for a lot of reasons. Um, at best, I think I wanted to be a community college instructor or just stay in high schools. But my pathway led here, and it's in the School of Education, training school and university leaders. But no, I didn't like school enough to want to be a professor. So it just it ended up happening just kind of as a result of what I became passionate about, and the opportunities that came my way, and what a few people thought I might be decent at. So that's how I ended up in this spot.
Um, I got to talk about, and you can talk about it for you, and lady, you can talk about for me how and this is important because I don't think people who aren't Black have any idea how it makes you feel when you learn Black history. I mean, the feeling that it gave me. I mean, there was the anger, but the feeling, because I personally needed explanation of what was going on around me. I needed it. I mean, I grew up in South Central, right? Like, I could pick any hood anywhere, right? I grew up and I was like, how did this get here? I mean, why are we beating each other up? Why did I get jumped when I was 11 and the dudes that jumped me look just like me, right? We Black, I'm poor, he Black, why you want to have power over me? I knew I needed answers. And it wasn't until, for me, I was searching the whole time. And I'll tell you this, I will say this, what happened to me when I grew up, Black young men only did two things. They weren't good students and they beat the hell out of each other. Okay. That's what we did. We had gangs. I mean, I grew up in gang time, I mean, and so, they didn't like people being smart. I'm smart. They talked about me like a dog, I mean, I got enough from the white folks. I'm getting this from the Black folks. And so I didn't even like Black men. I did not like brothers. Like, get me away from a brother, right? And grabbing Malcolm, and he's explaining to me, this is how that whole self-hate thing and all of that, and man, it's like, and how it happened, and this is the hood, or they call it the ghetto den, is the creation of American society. I was like, wow, wow, wow. And the more I learned, the one thing I got, and I learned that we collude in our own oppression just because we don't know. We don't know. That's one of my favorite phrases. We don't know. And so the feeling it gave me, and of course, then it maybe want to learn, well, are there other people? I'm a civil rights guy, so I have Malcolm, Martin, and Medgar, right? Then I learned about everybody else. Then I went back and to learn about all these people, Dr. Harrison, who were part of trying to liberate us. I mean, the abolitionists, the Henry Highland Garnetts and the Martin Delaney's. I like, damn, then I had to go back even further. And I felt privileged. And, when you feel like I was like a born again Christian, I'm going to convert everybody. And I went, my first job out of USF, I taught high school, and they gave me 3. And I was in school that doesn't exist anymore, and Woodrow Wilson High School. And they taught world history, U.S. history, but I knew that they wasn't gonna give me room to teach So I said, I'm gonna teach Black history. And I remember that class, and this was a long time. And those kids at 16 look at me. You would have thought I was Malcolm. Period. I walk into that room. Obviously, my hair is like yours now, but then I had a half a dashiki. Half a afro and a dashiki, and the thirst they had, and it's never changed, because if we don't do that, for what it did for the pride, the pride, I can't explain that to white folks. I ain't gonna try. You don't get it, you know. But I don't know what it did. That's what it did for me, and I've been on that path ever since. And did it do the same thing for you? And Lady E, you can speak also, to it. Black is beautiful. I didn't even know that. We call ourselves so many names, it was crazy. Like this was the ugliest thing in the world when I was a kid. Oh man, worst thing you do is call somebody Black. Oh Lord, we had all kinds. That's me. So either one, you want to speak to your experience, Lady E?
I'd really like to hear more from our Dr. Harrison, Dr. Smith. I'd like to hear.
That's a nice way of telling.
I'd like to hear more from you all.
Yeah, no, you feel it, right? You feel it in classrooms, as a professor, right? When students start to get it, it's like people have been starving their whole lives, or again, fed the wrong meals, right? Meals that have made them sick. And so to tell them truths, to tell them full stories of our people, to give flesh, right? To stereotypes, to give them hearts, to give them straightened necks, that aren't hanging from trees. It's incredible. It's incredible, as you say, the pride that comes over. You talked a lot about Carter Woodson earlier. Carter Woodson's my guy, right? He's the OG, not just for Negro History Week and Black History Month, but for my entire field, right, of Black history. And I'm going to paraphrase poorly, but one of the quotes from his book, The Miseducation of the Negro, that he wrote in the 30s, is still as relevant today. Most of that book, no, I'm going to say the entirety of that book is as relevant today as it was in the 1930s when he wrote it. And to paraphrase him, he said, basically, to teach students that their Black face is a curse and that their condition is hopeless is the worst sort of lynching. Right. And when you think about the context of the 1930s, you're still steeped in the most physically brutal, violent, right, moment in American history for African Americans, right? You've got thousands of Black men, women, and children who are literally, right, being lynched. And you have, right, the rise of these racial uplift movements, the new Negro movements, right, that are emerging, who are trying desperately to counter all of that violence, right? And to do so, again, fearlessly. That was the crux, right, of this new Negro, that new Negro, right, was going to move forward in the world without the fear of white supremacy, which was a real and constant threat to them. And for Carter Woodson, right, it was all about re-educating our people, re-educating the entire nation, that we do not, right, exist as a curse or a stain in this world. Right. And so when you teach the fuller histories, when you teach, again, the fullness of our lives, it immediately, right, we start to get full. We get full up, right, on the pride and the love. And it is miraculous to see. It's why I keep doing what I do. I just love it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In legitimacy theory, there's a term called affective consistency, and it's the idea that
one more time.
There's an idea, there's a theory about this term affective consistency. And it's really a social psychology idea. But the point of it is that when humans often desire a simplification of the things that concern them, right? So we want good, bad, great or horrible. We want things to be very simple. And I think what Dr. Harrison is also speaking to is the ways in which when you can get out of the simplification of the Black identity from either you're superhuman or you're subhuman, right? You get to see something more complex. Sometimes it can be painful, but oftentimes it's also very humanizing and very beautiful to see that, yeah, there were people that perhaps had particular struggles and deficits that then still fought and still won, right? There were problems that we still dealt with and still, challenged our condition. So I think that's really important. I think in terms of teaching folks, I think the thing that always makes me more excited is that, and this might sound a little off, but think of it this way. I always talk about the Black diaspora and African Americans in particular as this very unique group in the world, meaning this, that through mostly media and mediums, the world has seen so many aspects of Black culture, okay? And we might be one of the most viewed and popular social groups of people in the world. Yet almost no one has really spoken to Black folks from outside of the community. So we have this simultaneous, unique visibility. But through the lack of actual contact, through segregated policies and segregated spaces and segregated experiences, many people who are not in the Black community actually don't even have conversations with Black folks. So you end up again with these simplifications. And I think what's huge is being able to teach people about the humanity of the Black experience is powerful. And then within that, it gives people opportunities to challenge some of the stereotypes and some of the ideas presented in media that they internalize as truths about themselves, right? That Black women are a certain way and Black men are a certain way. And nobody that wasn't Black, they ain't never helped us. And it's always been us by us. And those things are not real. They're oversimplified stereotypes that can use to both divide us and minimize our strength and minimize our ability to just be human. And I think that's one of the more important things about teaching about Black history.
So,
Go ahead,
so
Lydia.
when your young people come in, the semester begins, right? And they come in a certain place. And then at the end, when they're getting ready to leave your information being enveloped and developed by you, what kinds of things do you see in terms of their interaction with being in class, being with one another, their interaction with themselves? What kind of things do you, because I heard you say, this is why I keep doing this, but there are things that you see and experience. And so, share some of that, especially those things that you said this and then this was a topic. And then after it was over, this is what happened. This is what you saw. This is where I'd like to hear some of that.
Well, one of the things I see is that at the beginning, women in my class often have their hair pressed, right, straight and relaxed. By the end, everybody's wearing naturals. That's number one. Right?
It's gonna be a change, okay?
Start to grow out, right? The afros. It's beautiful. Right. So you physically see changes in them. But it's also over time teaching at USF, which is a predominantly white institution. When I started teaching this class, maybe I had, let's say, 6 students out of 40 that were Black. Now, my class this semester, 32 out of 40 are Black. But they don't know each other necessarily walking into that space, right? So they're still coming from very diverse backgrounds, coming from all over the country. They are full, right, of all of the inferior stereotypes, right? The one-dimensional things Dr. Smith was just talking about. They're hesitant, right, to interact. They're a little bit leery. And by the end, I can see that they have done the things that I did in college. They have gone back to their dorms, set up all night, right? They've been on the phone with their friends, their family. So by the end, you feel like that you've created a beloved community, right? Where people are disagreeing, right? Black folks are disagreeing, they're recognizing their differences. But there's something, again, like Dr. Smith was talking about, going through this process of learning really Black humanity for the first substantial time over 16 weeks, that they recognize it in each other. right? And so they spend time, right, together outside of that room. And they also become much more militant than when they started. So they get real loud on campus. They start critiquing everything and everybody.
The BSU and Black I did, right? Me and my colleagues.
From a classroom to a village.
Yes.
From a narrow lens to a wide lens, and a voice that had been lost. And now it's found. Okay, but I don't want to take Dr. Smith's words. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, Dr. Harrison is phenomenal with our undergraduate students, and she's actually a very critical part of the current success of the Black community at the University of San Francisco. I actually teach graduate students, so fortunately and unfortunately, I don't get to work with the youngest of our university students. But when I do get a chance to work with high schoolers, and when I've taught in Santa Rita County Jail, San Quentin State Prison, et cetera, those various locations, I think depending on the population I got to deal with, I try and have folks extract meaning out of the history that they can apply to today, right? There are things that people fought for. There are ethics. There are 10-point plans and platforms. There are speeches. There are all of these very well articulated goals and ethics that various Black movements and individuals espouse throughout their lives and throughout the times of their movements. And I believe that in the discussion of history, typically outside of many of our Black history instructors at the university level, I believe oftentimes at the secondary level, that gets lost. How are we supposed to talk to each other in order to maintain this community? How are we supposed to accept each other, view each other, and how do we critique each other and set boundaries on how we behave and how we sound and how we move in a way that reaffirms the legacy, not seeks appreciation or seeks validation from the status quo, but maintains our existing legacy? I used to always, well, I still do it. I tell high school students, and I still tell high school administrators, what makes you think that it was European culture that invented respect? What makes you think that it is capitalist culture that has the license to be the determinant of who is and is not respectful? That's not real. That's not a real thing. The idea of treating human beings in a certain way to perpetuate the health and safety and just overall well-being of the community comes from indigenous folks, comes from kidnapped folks, comes from marginalized folks. And if you go back even to W.B. Du Bois in his study of the Philadelphia Negro and look at what he found in studying the ghettos and the projects and et cetera of Philadelphia, and what he found was that, well, and what many cultural anthropologists have found, that people with less tend to have to show more respect to one another because they rely on one another's resources to move forward. Okay. So when folks begin rejecting these things, not holding each other accountable, and not prioritizing our internalized views of respect for each other, we lose ourselves. And you can read history sometimes and take it as I've now accumulated facts to justify what I do next, without reading history to understand the pre-existing boundaries and ethics for which you might want to hold yourself accountable.
Dr. Smith, I gotta say, those are questions that always, and again, I had to go all the way, but I had to go back to Kemet, right? And when I started reading what they did, they were doing, you talk about civilized. I mean, again, it's this thirst and reading about Kemet and how there's nothing more valuable than human life and all this stuff. Like what? We wouldn't bear, but we had been labeled. Look, I grew up on Tarzan movies. Okay, we were great labeled, And then I read, there's so many books. The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams, one of my favorite books. And it talks about how African people live continent wide. And how it's just, there's this whole section in there. And when I talking about it, the kids don't believe it. So now they get the book and I said, look, it says it right here. The trouble of one is the trouble of all. That's the way. And again, indigenous people who they label as uncivilized. Again, I got to stop because I get going and y'all won't be able to talk. I got to ask this. Why are these folks afraid of the truth? When I talk, why is America afraid of the truth? Because this history is nothing but truth, right? And I'll give you my answer first, and then you give me yours, right? It's just like, you have families and they have family secrets, and they don't want the secrets in their family out because it makes the family look bad, right? They say, I don't want the family, so don't tell the secrets in the family. And it's like, of course, if you can't heal if you don't know everything that's going on in the family, and then you can't see it coming again because you haven't talked about it in the first place. So really, you're placing yourself completely at risk by not knowing the truth of actually what's in your own family. It's like, this American family, they don't want to make America look bad. So some things hit you hard. I don't know about you. When I find out George Washington is this, George Washington is that, George Washington, the father of our country, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, when I found out George Washington had slaves, I went, what? Why didn't you just say that then? Why didn't you just tell the whole George Washington story? Chopped down the cherry tree, he never told a lie, but they didn't. And then when I found out all the presidents had slaves, they just y'all just full of it, right? What are they afraid of the truth? In your opinion? Because to me, they just don't make America look bad. But that's part of the American historical story. And let me add to that, because it seems like they always there's a whole movement now where they trying to sanitize the whole thing. I mean, you got to be feeling that. Slaves were workers. What do you mean they were workers? But if you don't know the truth, then you they were workers. No, they wasn't workers, right? So that's my latest thing. You just help me. What are they afraid of?
Well, I think, people think of history as just facts, right? That there's dates and places and people, and those things don't change, right? And that's why I slept through history throughout most of my student career. But that's really not, right, history. History is about the interpretation of all those things. It is the storytelling. And the storytelling is itself, right, incredibly powerful. For the same reason, right, that I mentioned Carter Woodson earlier talked about, right, the miseducation is the worst sort of lynching. Well, if you tell the truth and you tell full stories, if you talk about the power of Black folks and the way, again, they fought against their oppression and garnered us more civil rights, right, than the white founding fathers ever planned on giving us, that creates a totally different narrative. White folks start to lose power, capitalists lose power, right? Government officials lose power in that story. And that is the fear, right? It's the fear of those at the top, right? The oppressors who still exist very much, losing their own ground, and that power structure, right, shifting over time. So these blockages that we're experiencing right now, we can't teach, right, critical race theory. Black history needs to be taught, right, in certain ways, right, as workers, as you said, and not use the word slave. It's more than avoiding white people feeling guilty. It is very much about them, right, seeing actually that they're not as all powerful, right, as usually, right, the historical narratives have claim them to be, and that people on the bottom, Black folks, working class folks, other people of color, immigrants, right, that we have power too, and we're going to continue to claim that. That's the real fear. It's emboldening a whole bunch of young folks to wear naturals, right, and criticize power structures, and to take down those structures. That to me is the real fear.
To me, it's so insulting for them to say it'll make white kids feel bad. like we ain't been feeling bad for 400. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's just the whole thing again. You can't feel bad, but we can feel bad. It's just it's insulting. It's insulting. And when I find out, it's like, even if you can't do something about it, they expect you to be stupid. I ain't stupid, okay? I mean, and that's what makes me mad. They want me to be stupid at the same time. Like, I can't see this. I'm sorry, but still, I'm going too long. So, Dr. Smith, your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. You know, I'm teaching a class on race and higher education right now for our graduate students, and one of the things that we talked about, you know, you have Frederick Douglass, and you know, an author by the name of Mab Segrest wrote a play on, wasn't a play, but it was an article that was kind of referring back to Frederick Douglass's work on the souls of Black folks, and she talked about, you know, of the souls of white folks, right? And one of the things that, you know, we're discussing is, so first of all, like pain, I think people are seeking to avoid pain. Okay. And pain is one of the things that connects human beings. Okay. So part of the fear is that it's a rehash of what has always been a source of fear for those in power, which is that the majority of folks of all ethnic backgrounds will connect. That's the fear, that they will connect together and be able to somehow remove some, if not all, of that power, right? And what history does, if taught well, it reveals the similarity and the connectedness between all peoples. That's what it does, and it reveals times when one group oppresses and commits genocide upon another, and it reveals when folks bonded together to resist that. And I think one of the things that Mab Segrest did in her piece, I think it's called Memoirs of a Race Traitor. But one of the things that she was talking about is kind of trying to articulate some of Frederick Douglass's narrations around some of the things he witnessed with, you know, slave owners and the slave auctions. And one of the things that she talks about is the role of this notion of anesthesia, and the idea of the loss of sensation without the loss of consciousness, right? The loss of sensation, the loss of feeling without the loss of consciousness being present, and how, and so the way that we're talking about it is how you have the idea of the white identity as it is kind of, it is coercing Irish and German and Italian and all of these folks to kind of water down these ethnic histories. And in that, there can be this privileged identity created, but the other part is one of the identifying factors of what people identify as whiteness is the loss of feeling. Okay? This is not what people of color just identify. This is what white supremacists identify whiteness as. If you connect with a person of color, then you're a in lover, or how dare you treat them like they're people. Right. Because the very demonstration of feeling feels counter to what white identity is supposed to be in the eyes of a white supremacist. Okay, so you end up with this fear of the pain being intertwined with the fear from those in power of folks connecting. And in that, you have this push towards this non-feeling state of being. Let's throw these people out. Who cares what their family is doing? Let's keep people from doing this. Let's take people's rights. And you can have an entire movement on taking things away from human beings, right? And the only way you can justify something like that is by trying to sever the connection between humans. Okay. And I feel that I've experienced a lot of wonderful people from all backgrounds and groups that can see through that. But I think you have a ton of folks in a segregated America where a lot of people actually don't get to be in contact with a lot of people of color. And the ones that they do are always in a minority, so they're never actually forced to see things from their perspective. So I feel like there's a lot of fear. And I feel like a lot of people, Black, Latino, Asian, and white people, see through those tricks. But I think what you're seeing is a classic divide and conquer and race baiting and trying to get folks to feel okay about having a lack of empathy.
Wow. That's deep. Those of us that move in all kinds of spaces know that, you know, the stereotypes that just, I'm gonna talk about white folks in particular, have had of me. I'm like, what? I mean, they just have this notion, you know, and then I'll say, well, I didn't know that. Well, I've never talked to a Black. Why, you know, I mean, I don't know what they think I'm gonna do, right? You know, I mean, I'm either a basketball player or, you know, or have a title or, but you know, you're right about that. And you just know when you walk in the room, right? You know, you walk in the room and I'm just being me. And then you gotta like, well said, sir. Very, very well said. Well, thank you for all this perspective. I'm just looking at again, Dr. King said every 5 or 6 years there would be a pushback because a lot of folks never wanted to do it in the first place. You know, they never, you know, there were maybe, there was a lot of folks that did, but there was a lot of folks that didn't. And people don't know from the first slave running away, let's just take, and using here, in this country, to, you know, I don't know, civil rights movement, to mass incarceration, all of that, to a lot of folks just never wanted to like not give us, but do what was right. That's what I call it. Do what was right. Do what was right. And so it doesn't surprise me. But this is one of those big pushes, I call it. You know, every so in a while you see a big push to push. This is a big push. This is a big push. This is a big push. This is like, now we're gonna try and strip everything, right? Undo this, undo that, so and so. But the good thing about history for me, if you've seen it, you know history, you've seen it before, you know when you know what it is again. You know, I've seen this before. You know, this might be a tsunami, but I saw way before. And it's interesting, and I'll give you an example. For me, you know, the whole pardoning of the January 6th, right? And I remember the quotes from people saying, it's time for us to get past this thing and move on. I went straight back to 1867 when America was, and the brothers were against, and you know, the American, the now North and the South, right? Or 76 probably, North and South. And they said, let's get back together, and you know, let's let this terrible incident in America pass, and let's be a family again. But there's always collateral damage for us in that, right? And that collateral damage was, well, we're gonna pull the troops out the South in this beginning of Jim Crow and sharecropping and everything else. It doesn't. This is the same thing to me, you know. And it's funny how all this goes with it. Shut down history, shut down this, get rid of DI. It's the same thing, right? But I knew it when I heard it because I've seen it before. This is why, to me, it's so important to know as much as you can, because you can recognize it. And you know, again, I'm when I talk to the kids about family stuff, they want to know everything because, you know, I want to be able to prepare myself and know when I can see it again. So that's just my little example. I don't know why they're trying. Cause look, when you, this is the thing, when you learn how to read, you learn how to read. And I don't care what they shut down. Look, it ain't going nowhere. If we have to go underground to teach, the truth for me is going to be out. So anything you want to close with, because I really appreciate this. This is wow. This is, yeah. Got too much knowledge right now.
I would just say that there's a reason why literacy was outlawed for enslaved Black folks. And so if we're going to continue to resist as a people moving forward in this time, keep reading, please. Chime in for the books, get the free books that Dr. Marshall's given away, but please educate yourself. You don't have to be in our classrooms to do that. If anything, you only get a little taste, right, inside of a classroom. Everything I know that all of us, tonight on this radio program know is that we have spent the time outside of classrooms educating ourselves. And once you know, right, you owe. Isn't that also one of your sayings, Dr. Marshall? The more you owe, the more you know, the more you owe. So please keep reading, please countering, our oppression that way.
Bam, bam.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I love that reference to literacy. When you read, I'm thinking of Herbert Aptheker, Dr. Harrison, American Negro Slave Revolts, right? 1943, I believe, and he documented over 200 slave revolts of 20 people or more, because he had to reduce it down to be able to write a book, right? And I think it's in that book. I could be off. Dr. Harrison can correct me, but there is a section where he's going over the laws in North Carolina, back in the day, and how it was, if any Negro found, reading or using of letters, they would get this consequence, right? 50 lashes across the back plus this. And any person, including white persons, found teaching of the Negro would also receive 50 lashes in that location. And I say that because I think it's important always for any oppressed peoples to be both passionate and strategically sound. Yeah. And this current era, as most eras, is about race. It is about gender, right? It is about nationality. It is about those things. And our allies are in a multitude of communities, right? And we want to be able to not only strengthen our community, but also be able to have some sort of lens and critique of who is and may not be an ally in this struggle. I think it's important to note when these folks come after us and our comrades and peoples and allies, one of the first things that is done is to try and convince people, and I'm talking about white people in this case, trying to convince white people to take on the same ideology that those who are rich and wealthy have. So the first manipulation, or the first targets of manipulation, are the very people that closely resemble those in power. And I think we're in a slightly more fortunate position than many of our ancestors to have more folks that don't look like us, perhaps seeing through the facade. But I will also say that I agree with Dr. Harrison that no matter who's on our side or who isn't, the question is, what are we going to do in our daily lives, and how are we going to support each other? And I think thinking about that, not just from a political organizing standpoint, which is incredibly important, but also thinking about that on a day-to-day basis. How are we going to hold each other up? How are we going to support each other? And how are we going to move forward in this climate? I think those things are important.
Y'all some smart people, boy. I swear, y'all are not waste your time. You are some smart people. Thank you so much. We didn't throw out any books, but there are so many books. I know at the top of my list now is The Warmth of Other Suns and Caste. No book better than me than Caste. That book like explained, this is America. Boom, boom. But there's so many more. And it's gonna be fun going through the month, giving kids books. A young lady walked into the room, Mr. Stell, the other day, and we were teaching the class. Said, "You got a lot of books here. I want to know about the Black Panthers." Well, so I think the best book I've read is A Taste of Power by Elaine Brown. He said, "Can I?" I said, "I will buy you the book. You buy me a book. Girl, I will buy you the book. You want a book because knowledge is powerful, and they can't take that away from you. Lady E, you wrap it up. You always do.
Well, this time I think Dr. Harrison and Dr. Smith wrapped it up. I can't say anything more or better. And I'm hoping the listeners were listening, paying attention, and ready to do something different. And I love that you said oppression. Reading, knowing your history will counter the oppression and all the madness that's probably definitely on the way. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much. Next week we got the Marshall Riley kids. They're going on the immersion tour. They coming on and they're gonna celebrate. Wow, this thing was the best thing in the world. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Happy Black History Month. Keep it up. We love you. If they mess with you, I'm right here. Okay.
Appreciate that.
I ain't letting them mess with my folks. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good